The first red flag should have been the way he said, "working late," not the words themselves. Stephen had pulled plenty of late nights at the office before, but something in his tone felt rehearsed, like he'd practiced those exact words in his head before dialing my number. I'm Michaela, and after 7 years of marriage, I knew my husband's voices. All of them. The warm honey tone he used when he wanted something. The clipped professional voice for clients. The soft, distracted mumble when he was actually buried in work. This wasn't any of those. "Don't wait up, sweetheart," he added too quickly. "Big merger coming up. You know how it goes." I did know how it went. As a corporate attorney myself, late nights were practically written into my job description. But something in my gut twisted at his words. "Want me to bring you dinner?" I offered, keeping my voice light. "I was thinking of ordering from that Thai place you love." "No!" The response came too sharp, too fast. He caught himself, softened his tone. "I mean, no need. Lexi ordered something for the team already." Lexi, his new secretary, 28, gorgeous and constantly seeking Stephen's approval like a puppy chasing treats. I'd seen the way she looked at him during office parties. "Right," I said. "Well, good luck with the merger." After hanging up, I stared at my phone for a long moment. Then I ordered Thai anyway, 2 portions of pad Thai, extra spicy, just the way he liked it. The office building was mostly dark when I arrived at 9:30 p.m, but I knew the security guard, Marco. He'd seen me bring Stephen dinner enough times before. "Mrs. Mason," he nodded, buzzing me through. "Mr. Mason's still up there, floor 32. The elevator ride felt longer than usual. I told myself I was being paranoid. Ridiculous. Stephen was probably hunched over spreadsheets with his team, tie loosened, sleeves rolled up, looking adorably dishevelled like he always did during crunch time. But when I stepped out onto the 32nd floor, there was no team, no buzz of late-night work energy, just a single lamp glowing from Stephen's corner office, and voices. 2 voices. I moved closer, take-out bags rustling softly. The door was cracked open just enough to carry sound. "Can't keep doing this, Stephen," Lexi's voice trembling slightly. "What happens when she finds out?" "She won't." My husband's voice, firm and cold in a way I'd never heard before. "Michaela's smart, but she's not going to dig where she doesn't need to." "But she's not your first wife, right? What happened to—" "Don't," Stephen cut her off sharply. "That's ancient history. It's handled. Like you handled Viviana." The name hung in the air like smoke. I pressed closer to the door, barely breathing. "Viviana made her choice," Stephen said quietly. "They all did, and now they're gone. All!" Lexi's voice cracked. "How many?" "Enough!" Stephen's chair scraped back. "This conversation is over. Go home, Lexi." I backed away from the door quickly, heart hammering. The Thai food suddenly felt heavy in my hands, the smell nauseating. I made it to the elevator just as footsteps approached, Lexi's heels clicking rapidly on the marble floor as she fled. The doors closed before she saw me. I leaned against the wall, my mind spinning with fragments of their conversation. "Not your first wife, like you handled Viviana. They all did. Now they're gone." The words echoed in my head over and over as I drove home in a daze. I put the untouched food in the fridge, poured myself a generous glass of wine, sat in our perfectly decorated living room, in our perfect house, next to the perfect family photos of me and my perfect husband. "Not his first wife," I whispered to the empty room. The words tasted like ash in my mouth, and somewhere deep inside, something cold and calculating began to wake up. I didn't sleep that night. Instead, I did what any good lawyer would do. I gathered evidence. My phone recorded every conversation in Stephen's office for the next 3 days. Most were mundane, client calls, staff meetings, the usual corporate dance. But on Thursday afternoon, Lexi came back. "I can't stop thinking about what you said," her voice crackled through my phone speaker. "About Viviana, about the others. Drop it, Lexi. She was from Argentina, wasn't she? I found the old news articles. Troubled wife disappears, leaving fortune behind. That's what they wrote about her. Silence filled the recording. Then Stephen's chair creaked. You've been Googling. His voice was dangerously soft. That's not very smart, Lexi. I also found marriage records in Buenos Aires. You were... Careful. One word, sharp as a blade. I need to know I'm not crazy. That photo in your desk drawer, the beach wedding, that was her, wasn't it? My hands shook as I replayed the recording. Beach wedding? I waited until Stephen left for his morning run, then went straight to his home office. The desk drawer was locked. Amateur move, really, as if a simple lock could stop someone determined enough. I had the pics in my hand before I even thought about it, muscle memory from a misspent youth that even law school hadn't erased. The drawer slid open smoothly, files, folders, the usual business detritus, but underneath it all, a worn leather briefcase I'd never seen before. Inside, I found them. The photos. Stephen on a beach, younger but unmistakable, in a white linen suit. Next to him, a stunning woman in a flowing dress, dark hair whipping in the ocean breeze. They looked happy, in love, the kind of love that's supposed to last forever. The letterhead on the marriage certificate was in Spanish. Buenos Aires, Argentina jumped out at me, along with a date from 8 years ago. Before me, before us. My phone buzzed, making me jump. Alexandra, my best friend and fellow attorney. Hey, you okay? She asked. You missed our lunch. I need you to come over, now. What's wrong? Just bring your laptop and that bottle of scotch you've been saving. Alexandra arrived 20 minutes later, looking worried. I spread the evidence on the kitchen table, photos, recordings, documents. Holy shit, she breathed, examining the marriage certificate. Have you run a background check? Started one this morning. I pulled up my laptop. But I need your help. You have better access to international records. Her fingers flew over the keyboard. Viviana Thornton, married to Stephen Mason in Buenos Aires, 2015. Reported missing in 2017. Police investigation. Declared legally dead in 2019. Dead? My voice cracked. According to this, she had a history of depression. They assumed suicide when she disappeared. Alexandra looked up. But no body was ever found. What about the others? Lexi said there were others. More typing, more digging. Records started emerging like bodies floating to the surface. Karen in Seattle, 2013, marriage annulled. Michelle in Toronto, 2014, filed for divorce, then, mysteriously, withdrew it. And now me. He has a pattern, Alexandra said quietly. Successful women, usually in their early 30s. Professional, independent, easy to dismiss as unstable when things go wrong, I finished, when they start asking questions. My phone pinged with a new email. Unknown sender, no subject line, just an attachment. Don't, Alexandra started, but I was already clicking. The video was grainy, shot in what looked like a cafe. A woman sat facing the camera, older than in the beach photos, but still beautiful, still alive. If you're watching this, Viviana said, you've started asking questions, and that makes you dangerous to him. She smiled sadly. I know, because I was you once. We all were. Alexandra gripped my hand as we watched. What are you going to do? I looked at the evidence spread across my kitchen table. At the life I thought I knew, unravelling thread by thread. At the pattern I was never supposed to notice. I'm going to do what I do best, I said, reaching for my phone. I'm going to build a case, and then I'm going to bury him with it. The phone rang 3 times before a voice answered. Lexi, we need to talk. Lexi agreed to meet at a small coffee shop downtown, neutral territory, public enough to feel safe. She was already there when I arrived, fidgeting with a paper napkin, looking like she hadn't slept in days. I didn't think you'd actually come, I said, sliding into the seat across from her. I almost didn't. Her eyes darted to the door. If Stephen finds out, he won't. I placed my phone on the table, recording app open. Tell me about Viviana. Lexi's hands trembled as she wrapped them around her untouched coffee. I only know what I found in the files and what I overheard. Tell me everything. She was brilliant, apparently. Investment banker. They met at a conference in Buenos Aires. Whirlwind romance, beach wedding, the whole fairy tale. Lexi's voice dropped. Then she started noticing things. Money missing from their joint accounts. Strange calls, documents she supposedly signed but didn't remember signing. Power of attorney papers. Lexi's head snapped up. How did you... Because he's doing the same thing to me. I pulled out the forged documents I'd found. He's systematic, methodical. This isn't his first time. No, Lexi whispered. It's not. Viviana threatened to expose him. Then she started acting. Erratic. At least that's how Stephen described it. Paranoid. Unstable. When she disappeared, everyone assumed... But she didn't disappear, did she? I found an email from last year. It was encrypted, but I saw her name before Stephen deleted it. She's alive, Michaela, and she's not the only one who survived him. My phone buzzed. Alexandra's text read, "Found something. Turn on the news now." I pulled up the live stream on my phone. A business report was playing. Breaking news in the financial sector as questions arise about Mason Industries' handling of certain trust accounts. Lexi went pale. Oh, God! What? I leaned forward. What do you know about those accounts? They're where he puts it. The money he takes from the wives. Herbert, Stephen's father, he helps hide it. Offshore accounts, shell companies. She swallowed hard. I've been helping with the paperwork. You have proof? She nodded slowly. I keep copies. Insurance, you know. In case you become the next wife. Tears spilled down her cheeks. He said once his divorce was final. Oh, honey. I reached across the table, took her shaking hands in mine. There was never going to be a divorce, just another disappearance. My phone buzzed again. Unknown number. The message contained just 4 words. Plaza Hotel, room 1242. I have to go, I said, standing. Lexi, I need those documents, all of them. Can you do that for me? She wiped her eyes, straightened her shoulders. Yes, tonight. I'll email everything. No, I wrote down an address. Bring them here, in person. My friend Alexandra will meet you. The plaza was quiet for a Tuesday afternoon. Room 1242 was at the end of a long hallway. I knocked twice. The woman who opened the door was older than in the beach photos, but her eyes were the same. Dark, intelligent, survivor's eyes. Viviana. Michaela. She stepped aside. Come in, we have a lot to talk about. The hotel room was a command centre. Laptops, documents, surveillance photos. On one wall, a timeline of Stephen's activities spanning a decade. I've been tracking him, Viviana said. All of them. Herbert's entire operation, the way they target women, isolate them, strip their assets. She turned to me. But you're different. You found us first. Us? A door opened and another woman stepped out of the bedroom. Sleek, professional, with a familiar haunted look in her eyes. Michelle, she said simply. Toronto, 2014, though I'm sure you already knew that. How many of you are there? Enough to bring them down, Viviana said. With your help. You're a lawyer, yes? And you have access to their current files? I thought of Lexi's documents, of Alexandra's connections, of all the evidence building like a tsunami about to break. I have more than that, I said. I have a plan. My phone buzzed one last time. Stephen. Working late again, sweetheart. Don't wait up. I smiled. And I know exactly where to start. The plan came together in Viviana's hotel room over the next 3 hours. Michelle paced while she talked, her heels clicking against the hardwood floor. The trust accounts are the key, she said. Herbert and Stephen use them to hide the money they steal from their wives, but they're sloppy, arrogant. They never thought anyone would connect the dots. Because no one was supposed to survive to tell the story, Viviana added, spreading documents across the bed. Each of us was supposed to be a closed chapter, unstable women who conveniently disappeared after signing everything away. My phone lit up with a text from Alexandra. Lexi just dropped off the files. You need to see this now. Send photos, I texted back. The images loaded one by one. Bank transfers, power of attorney documents, a pattern spanning years, each woman's fortune systematically drained and hidden in a maze of offshore accounts. Look at this, I said, showing them the screen. Lexi kept receipts of everything. Michelle leaned in. Those account numbers, they match the ones I found before I disappeared. And these signatures, Viviana pointed. They're forged, just like mine were. We need more, I said. Something current, something that proves they're still doing it. My phone buzzed again. Stephen, miss you, dinner tomorrow night? Viviana read the message over my shoulder and smiled grimly. Perfect. He's getting nervous, starting the love-bombing phase. That's when they're most dangerous, Michelle warned, when they think they're losing control. Good, I started typing a reply, because I'm about to make him very nervous indeed. Can't tomorrow, I wrote. Meeting with the board about those trust accounts that came up in the news. Probably nothing, but you know how thorough I have to be as legal counsel. 3 dots appeared immediately, disappeared, appeared again. What trust accounts? Oh, didn't you see the report? I'll handle it, don't worry. That's why they keep me around, right? To clean up messy situations. This time the phone actually rang. I let it go to voicemail. Now we wait, I said. He'll make a mistake. They always do when they're scared. He'll check the accounts, Michelle predicted. Try to cover his tracks. And lead us right to everything he's trying to hide, Viviana finished. My phone lit up with another text, this time from an unknown number, a video file. I pressed play. Stephen's office appeared on screen. He was pacing, agitated, while Herbert sat calmly at the desk. She knows something, Stephen was saying, about the accounts, about Viviana. Then handle it, Herbert replied coldly, like we handled the others. She's not like the others. She's a lawyer. She has connections. Then discredit her. We have the documentation ready, mental health issues, substance abuse, professional misconduct, the usual story. And if that doesn't work, Herbert's smile was chilling. There are always accidents, son. The video ended. Another text followed. Thought you might want to see this. Lexi. They're planning to move against you, Viviana said quietly. No. I stood up, gathering the documents. They're giving us exactly what we need. Conspiracy, documented threats, recorded evidence of premeditation. What's our next move? Michelle asked. I checked my watch. Right now, Stephen's probably calling their accountants, trying to hide the money trails. Tomorrow morning, he'll start building the story about my mental state. But tonight, I smiled. Tonight, I'm going to have dinner with my husband. That's dangerous, Viviana protested. Trust me. I picked up my phone, dialed Stephen's number. I know exactly what I'm doing. He answered on the first ring. Michaela, about dinner tomorrow. Actually, I cut in, making my voice bright, concerned. I'm worried about you. You seem stressed. Let's do dinner tonight instead. That little Italian place you love. Tonight? He hesitated. I have calls. Cancel them, please. I miss my husband. A long pause. Okay, 8 o'clock? Perfect. Oh, and Stephen, I have something important to tell you about our future together. I hung up and turned to the others. By midnight, he'll think he's back in control. By morning, he'll realise how wrong he was. Be careful, Viviana said softly. Oh, I will be. I gathered my things. After all, I learned from the best, his previous wives. The Italian restaurant was dimly lit, romantic. Stephen was already there when I arrived, nursing a scotch. He stood to greet me, all perfect husband charm. You look beautiful. he said, kissing my cheek. I was wearing his favourite dress, the black one that made me look powerful, dangerous. He'd always liked that about me. Until now. You seemed stressed on the phone earlier, he said, signalling the waiter. About those trust accounts. Oh, that. I waved dismissively. Just some regulatory flags. Nothing serious. I leaned forward, lowered my voice. But I do have something important to discuss. The waiter arrived with wine. Stephen ordered for both of us. He always did. I watched him take a long sip of scotch, noticed the slight tremor in his hand. I've been thinking, I said softly, about our future, about children. His glass froze halfway to his lips. Children? I touched his hand across the table. I think it's time. Don't you want a family, Stephen? Someone to inherit everything you've built? The tension in his shoulders eased slightly. This was familiar territory. A wife wanting babies, wanting to settle down. Controllable. Of course, he said smoothly. But your career? I've already thought about that. In fact, I pulled out some papers from my bag. I've drafted a new version of our prenup to protect our future children's inheritance. His eyes sharpened. You drafted new papers? Just a few adjustments, adding trust provisions for potential heirs, consolidating our accounts. I slid the documents across the table. Nothing major. Stephen scanned the papers, his lawyer's mind picking through the language. I watched his face change as he reached page 3. These account numbers, he said carefully. Where did you get them? Oh, from the regulatory review, standard procedure. I sipped my wine. Is something wrong? No, he forced a smile. But maybe we should have the firm's lawyers look these over first. Of course. In fact, I pulled out my phone. Why don't I send them to Herbert right now? Get his opinion? Stephen's hand shot out, gripping my wrist. Don't. Why not? I met his eyes. Afraid of what he'll see. The mask slipped, just for a moment, but long enough. I saw what Viviana had seen, what Michelle had seen. The predator beneath the charm. What are you doing, Michaela? Having dinner with my husband. I extracted my wrist from his grip. And making sure our future is secure. Like Viviana's future was secure. His face went still. Behind us, I sensed, rather than saw, Alexandra and Michelle taking their seats at different tables. Viviana would be in the car outside, monitoring everything. Funny you should mention her, I said. She sends her regards. The colour drained from his face. What? Along with Karen and Michelle. They all say hello, Stephen. He stood abruptly, looming over the table. You're confused, upset. Maybe we should get you home. Sit down. My voice could have frozen hell. Or I press send on some very interesting documents currently queued in my email. He sat. Good boy. I smiled. Now, about those trust accounts and the forged power of attorney documents and all those convenient disappearances, whatever you think you know, I know everything. I pulled out my phone, showed him the video from his office, including your plans for my accident. Herbert will destroy you. Herbert is currently dealing with his own problems. The SEC is very interested in certain offshore transactions. Stephen's face twisted. You bitch! No! I stood, gathering my things. I'm a lawyer, and you're about to learn exactly what that means. You'll never prove anything. I already have. I dropped a business card on the table. My attorney will be in touch. Oh, and Stephen. I leaned down, whispered in his ear. Viviana says the beach wedding was beautiful. I walked out, head high, feeling his stare burning into my back. Outside, Viviana's car was waiting. Did you get it? I asked, sliding into the passenger seat. She held up a recording device, smiling. Every word. Good. I pulled out my phone, dialed Alexandra. Time for phase 2. The endgame was starting. And this time, the wife wasn't going to disappear. She was going to win. The law firm's conference room buzzed with tension. Board members shifted in their leather chairs, checking watches and phones. Stephen sat at the far end, trying to look bored. Herbert hadn't arrived yet. I adjusted my presentation notes, feeling the weight of the USB drive in my pocket. Alexandra stood by the door, tablet in hand, ready. "Shall we begin?" I smiled at the room. I know everyone's time is valuable. "Where's Herbert?" Stephen interrupted. "We should wait." "Oh, he'll be here." I clicked to the first slide. In fact, his arrival is perfectly timed in the presentation. The door opened. Lexi slipped in, taking a seat near the back. Her hands were shaking, but her chin was high. "Good girl. As the firm's legal counsel," I began, "I've been reviewing our compliance procedures, particularly regarding our trust accounts and power of attorney protocols." Stephen's jaw tightened. I saw him reach for his phone. "Don't bother," I said softly. "The accounts are already frozen." The board members stirred. Someone cleared their throat. "Mrs. Mason," one director spoke up. "What exactly are you implying?" "Nothing yet." I clicked to the next slide. "I'm stating facts, like the fact that 7 trust accounts managed by this firm show identical patterns of fund transfers to offshore holdings. More shifting, more throat clearing, or the fact that these transfers coincide perfectly with the disappearances of several wealthy women who, coincidentally, were all married to the same person." The conference room door slammed open. Herbert stormed in, face red. "This meeting is adjourned," he barked. "Actually," Alexandra spoke up, "it's being recorded for the SEC, along with some other interesting recordings." I played the video from Stephen's office. Herbert's cold voice filled the room. "Then handle it like we handled the others." "Turn that off!" Stephen stood. "Make me." I met his eyes. "Like you made Viviana disappear, or tried to." The door opened again. A woman stepped in, elegant and very much alive. Several board members gasped. "Hello, Stephen," Viviana said calmly. "Miss me?" Herbert lunged for the presentation controls. I stepped back, letting him. "This is ridiculous," he sputtered. "These women are clearly disturbed." "Disturbed!" Michelle's voice rang out as she entered. "Like the documentation you forged claimed we were." "Enough!" Stephen shouted. "You have no proof." "Actually," Lexi stood up, dropping a thick folder on the table. "They have every proof, every document, every transfer, every forged signature." She turned to Stephen. "Including the ones you made me process last week." The boardroom erupted in chaos. Directors talking over each other, phones coming out, legal teams being summoned. "You're fired," Herbert spat at me. "No," said the head director, standing. "You're fired, both of you, and I believe the authorities will want to speak with you." As if on cue, Alexandra opened the door again. 2 FBI agents stepped in. "Herbert and Stephen Mason," one flashed his badge. "We have some questions about those offshore accounts." "You can't prove intent," Stephen tried one last time. I pulled out my phone, played the restaurant recording from last night. His voice crystal clear. "Whatever you think you know." "That's inadmissible," Herbert cut in. "In criminal court, maybe," I agreed. "But in civil court, in the court of public opinion." I nodded to Alexandra, who pressed a button on her tablet. "Check Twitter." The story was already trending. Daria, our journalist contact, had timed her exposé perfectly. Photos, documents, testimonies, all going viral in real time. "You're done," I said quietly. "Both of you. No more wives. No more disappearances. No more control." Security arrived to escort them out. As they passed, Stephen grabbed my arm. "I loved you," he hissed. "No," I pulled free. "You loved owning me. There's a difference." The board immediately went into emergency session. Alexandra started coordinating with the FBI. Viviana, Michelle, and the others began giving statements. I stepped out into the hallway, finally letting myself shake. Lexi followed me. "Are you okay?" she asked. No, I smiled. I'm better than okay. I'm free. My phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. Well done. From all of us who couldn't fight back. Thank you. I looked back through the conference room windows, watching Stephen's empire crumble in real time. No, I whispered. Thank you for surviving, for leaving breadcrumbs, for making sure I wasn't just another wife who disappeared. The takedown was complete, but the story, it was just beginning. The media frenzy exploded within hours. Daria's article went viral, spawning hundreds of headlines. Corporate dynasty's dark secret, the vanishing wives, power, control, and the women who fought back. Legal eagle takes down predatory empire. I sat in Alexandra's office, watching the chaos unfold on multiple screens. Herbert's being questioned by the FBI, she reported, hanging up her phone. 3 more women have come forward, different names, same pattern. And Stephen, released on bail an hour ago, she hesitated. He's not taking it well. My phone buzzed. Speaking of the devil, we need to talk. Please, I can explain everything. Don't answer, Viviana warned, looking over my shoulder. This is when they're most dangerous, when they realise they've lost control. Another text. I'm outside your office, just 5 minutes. He's here. Alexandra reached for her phone. I'm calling security. No. I stood up. Let me handle this. One last time. I found him in the lobby looking dishevelled. The polished mask had cracked, revealing something desperate underneath. 5 minutes, I said coldly. This isn't you, Michaela. This vindictive person, destroying everything we built. Everything you stole, I corrected, from me, from Viviana, from all of them. I loved you, really loved you. The others, they were business, arrangements, but you were different. I laughed. That's what you told Viviana too, right? Before you tried to erase her? I can make this right. He stepped closer. The accounts, the documents, I'll sign whatever you want. Just call off the dogs. Help me fix this. Fix this! I pulled out my phone, showed him the latest headlines. Your father's being indicted. The firm's under federal investigation. Your victims are speaking out. There's no fixing this. Then I'll lose everything. Now you know how they felt. All those women you stripped of their lives, their identities, their futures. His face twisted. You bitch! You planned this from the start. No, I stepped back. I just finished what Viviana started. What all of them started. You got sloppy, Stephen. Left too many survivors. I'll fight this. Every charge. Every accusation. Good, I smiled. Because I've got 37 women ready to testify, plus Lexi, plus your father once the FBI finishes questioning him. Want to guess who he'll throw under the bus to save himself? The security guards I'd quietly texted were approaching. Stephen saw them too. This isn't over, he snarled. Actually it is. Oh, and Stephen. I held up my phone, still recording. Thanks for the confession. The guards escorted him out. I watched through the glass doors as reporters swarmed him, cameras flashing. Alexandra appeared beside me. You okay? Getting there. I turned away from the spectacle. What's next? Viviana's giving her statement to the FBI. Michelle's coordinating with the other survivors, and she handed me a business card. A publisher called. They want your story. Our story, I corrected. All of us. My phone buzzed again. A message from Lexi. Herbert's talking. Everything. The whole system they used to target women. You need to see this. The empire's really falling, Alexandra mused. Good. I started walking toward the elevators. Let's make sure it never rises again. Back in the office, Viviana was finishing her FBI interview. She looked lighter somehow, like setting down a heavy burden. They want to know if you'll testify, she said, about the forged documents, the financial manipulation. I'll do better than that. I sat down at my computer. I'll show them exactly how the system worked. every legal loophole they exploited, every trap they set. And then I thought about the publisher's card in my pocket, about all the women still out there, trapped in similar webs of control and manipulation. Then we tell the story, not just what they did, but how we fought back, how we won. They'll try to discredit us, Michelle warned. Call us crazy, vindictive. Let them, I started typing, because here's what they don't understand. The truth doesn't disappear, and neither did we. Alexandra raised her coffee cup in a toast. To the wives who wouldn't vanish. No, Viviana corrected, smiling. To the wives who came back. I looked at these women, survivors, warriors, sisters, in arms, and felt something final click into place. The nightmare was over. The real story was just beginning. The courthouse steps were crowded with reporters when I walked out of the final hearing. Camera flashes popped like lightning as Herbert and Stephen were led away in handcuffs. "Miss Davis," reporters called out, "how does it feel to win?" I paused, considering the question. Behind me, Viviana and Michelle emerged from the courthouse doors. Alexandra followed, clutching the final judgment papers. "This isn't about winning," I said into the microphones. "This is about survival, about justice, about making sure no more wives disappear. Will you comment on Herbert Mason's guilty plea? Or Stephen Mason's breakdown in court?" I smiled, remembering Stephen's face when his father had turned on him, spilling every detail of their decades-long scheme to marry, isolate, and erase wealthy women. "The evidence speaks for itself," I said simply. 27 years of fraud, 42 victims, $8 billion in stolen assets, and now consecutive life sentences for both father and son. My phone buzzed, a message from Lexi. "Watching the coverage, thank you for helping me escape before I became another wife. Miss Davis, what about the book?" "Ah, yes, the book. Currently sitting at #1 on every bestseller list. The Wife File, How We Survived America's Most Notorious Family." "The book tells our truth," I said. "But more importantly, it's helping other women recognize the warning signs, teaching them to fight back." A familiar voice cut through the crowd. "And starting a movement." Daria, our journalist ally, pushed forward with her microphone. "Tell us about the foundation." I gestured to Viviana, who stepped up beside me. This was her moment too. "The Survivors Trust launches today," she announced. "Funded by the recovered assets, we're providing legal aid and support to women trapped in similar situations, because we're not just victims anymore, we're warriors." The questions kept coming, but Alexandra touched my arm. "Time to go. The survivors are waiting." We slipped through the media circus to a waiting car. Michelle was driving, with 3 other survivors in the back, all women who'd escaped Stephen's father decades ago. "To the shelter?" Michelle asked. Actually, I pulled out my phone, showing them a message. "We have one more stop." The message was from Stephen's mother, a woman everyone thought had died 30 years ago. Turned out she'd been the first wife to disappear, living under an assumed name in Seattle. "She wants to help," I explained. "Says she has evidence about other families like the Masons, other predators using the same playbook." "The work never ends," Viviana sighed. "Good," I said firmly, "because neither do we." The car wound through city streets toward our new office building, a renovated warehouse where the foundation would be housed. Outside, a line of women waited to tell their stories, seek help, join the fight. "Remember when you thought you were alone?" Alexandra asked softly. I watched the survivors greeting each other, sharing stories, building strength in numbers. Some were former wives like us. Others were women who'd read the book and recognized their own situations. All of them were done being silent. My phone buzzed one last time, a text from an unknown number. "I'm in trouble. I think my husband—" "Please help." Another one, I showed the others. "Then let's help her," Michelle said simply. We pulled up to the building. The sign above the door read, "The Phoenix Foundation, rising from the ashes of abuse." Inside, teams of lawyers, counsellors and survivors worked together, dismantling similar schemes across the country. Every day brought new cases, new battles, new victories. "Ready?" Viviana asked, holding the door. I looked at these women, my sisters in survival, my partners in justice, and felt the last pieces of fear fall away. Stephen hadn't destroyed me. He'd awakened something stronger. "Ready?" I said, stepping into our new headquarters. "We have work to do. Because that's the thing about women like us. We don't just survive. We transform. We fight back. We build armies. And we make damn sure that no wife ever disappears again." The story wasn't over. It was evolving, growing, spreading like wildfire through a forest of secrets. And this time, the predators were the ones running scared. Because the wives, we weren't vanishing anymore. We were multiplying.